Have you ever felt like you're doing all the right things, but you're still not getting to where you want to be? You know, you've done stretching, mobility, strength training, foam rolling, physio, massage, all these things, and somehow there's still something missing. And I don't think it's the fact that you're missing a particular exercise or modality. I think you're missing a roadmap to put it all together. Because every single one of these things can work. Stretching works, strength training works, mobility works. They're not competing ideas despite what the internet may tell us. They're just solving different problems. The problem isn't knowing what to do, it's knowing when it belongs. Think about building a house, and I've just stolen a little bit of Lego from the kids' stash, and man, I did not get enough. But you know, you're not going to start with the roof. You're not going to start with the door. You're going to build those foundations. And you get what I'm saying, right? You need to have things in a certain order to make sure things just don't fall apart on you. Over the last few videos, we've spoken about access. We've spoken about how every exercise should have a purpose, how training should prepare you for the demands of life. And the right exercise at the wrong time is still the wrong exercise. These are the principles that sit under my framework, and I want to give you a little bit of a rundown of that now. So over the last 20 years, I've built a framework that's helped me answer one question. How do we build someone that's hard to hurt? So I look at working things through this order so that we can take this whole variety of things that we're seeing online from different modalities, you might have physio, training, etc., and put them in some sort of order. And that order is, first we're looking at gaining access to positions. Then we want to gain control, capacity, and power. And there's a few reasons for this. For example, if we're looking at stretch yourself strong and its relevance to range of motion is different under different conditions, whether we're static, moving, under load, or under different velocities. We need to make sure that we're training these things in terms of range of motion across all these different variables. But this is the same for any sort of training. We want to make sure that we're looking at the different adaptations that different exercises are biased towards and make sure they're included across our whole program. So with access, we're looking at, can we get into the positions that we need? Can we then control them? Because coming into a static position on its own doesn't allow us to necessarily use it in a real world. We need to train our brain around these positions. This is the same for strength training. We want to first look at our weak positions, what we may be able to access on one side and the other side, and then bring them into positions where we can control them under different variables as well, because we want to use our training in the real world, not just get good at the gym. Then we want to make sure that we can improve our capacity. Can we tolerate the demands of our sport or whatever life is throwing at us? And then we want to express all that under power. And that usually comes down to sport-specific positions as well. So most people don't need more exercises, they need to understand where they are. For example, the argument online around stretching versus mobility, often we see people who can already do an exercise showing us the range of motion that they currently have capacity with, and they're demonstrating a movement. But if you can't do that movement, just trying to do it over and over again isn't the best way for you to do it. You need to figure out what your restrictions are, work on those restrictions, and come into these positions which express your movement. This is the same for range of motion, it's the same for strength and all these things. It's similar to not being able to come into a deep squat and just continuing to squat. There's better ways. It's figuring out what's stopping you, finding your access, and then figuring out how you can control it, building that capacity up so you can load it as much as possible, and then if needed, bring into power and positions where you need to tolerate quick speeds, quick changes of direction. But if we start, for example, in the third phase where we're just trying to build capacity, and this is where we're looking at strength through full range of motion, eccentric training, etc. If we haven't built up our access to these positions first, and we haven't shown our brain how to control these, we're not going to get gains that we could have as if we had to build it up step by step. And when I look at building this up, everything comes back to one simple idea. You don't want your body to be an obstacle to the things that you're looking to achieve. You know, whether that's your sport, playing with your kids, whatever. And that's what I mean by athletic longevity, if you've heard me speak about this. Over the last 4 videos, you've had a little bit of insight into how I think about this, but knowing the principles and how to apply them are different things. The only thing I don't know is where you fit into this framework. Some people need more access, others have plenty of access but can't control it. Some need more capacity, particularly capacity in these awkward angles and positions where they're finding themselves getting injured. My job's not to give everyone the same exercises, it's to figure out where you are and what you need next. And if you'd like to do that with me, I would love to do so. You want to build the right qualities in the right order so your body doesn't become an obstacle to the things that you want to achieve with your life. And that's athletic longevity, and this is a bit of an introduction into the system around how I try to help you build that. Any questions, please ask, and hope to see you soon.